It started with a ripple, but soon became waves.
Increases in certain types of responses that we were making, and one of those were overdose responses.
The first wave was created by overprescribing opioid pain medications.
20 or so years ago, when the drug companies started telling primary care physicians that these new drugs, these wonder drugs, these opiates were not addictive.
The next wave was heroin.
That's when you start realizing there's a problem. It's not just a spike in one singular thing. It was persistent and pervasive across the whole community.
Now a third wave, deadlier synthetic opioids and analogs.
This was a small fire that became, a forest fire.
Across the nation, drug overdose deaths have been up and down the past 3 years. This, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Not here. They are not declining here.
In fact, in 2010, the Lucas County Coroner's Office reported 8 opioid deaths. In 3 years, they increased tenfold. That number quadrupled by 2017, when 365 people died of opioid overdose. In 2020, there were 556 opioid deaths in the 21 counties served by the Lucas County Coroner. Of those 556 deaths, 296 were in Lucas County, a number that more than tripled since 2014. And in 2020, for the first time since these statistics have been kept, in a single calendar year, over 100,000 people in the United States died of drug overdose. Since 2007, drug overdose has been the leading cause of accidental death here in Ohio and across the nation, surpassing automobile accidents. Modern medicine uses opioids for legitimate medical purposes to treat pain. You might recognize the names of some of those common prescription painkillers like Vicodin, OxyContin, Percocet. Misuse of these painkillers can lead to heroin use.
What we saw as a direct result of tremendous marketing and a lot of money spent is the use of these drugs and the prescribing of these drugs went up like a rocket for a long time. That got a number of people addicted. At some point, many of them moved into heroin. Now what we've seen, of course, is this evolve. So it starts with the pain meds, goes to the heroin. Now we are dealing with fentanyl, which is so much more potent than heroin, which is now being mixed into virtually every other kind of drug.
Fentanyl is 50 to 100 times the strength of morphine and is legitimately used as an anesthetic and for chronic end-stage pain management. Anyone who takes opioids is at risk of developing substance use disorder, which is defined as a craving for a drug and continued use of the drug despite harmful consequences. Opioids are highly addictive. They activate the powerful reward center of the brain. Among those on the front lines of the epidemic, the verdict is unanimous. Addiction is a disease.
The Mental Health Recovery Services Board supports the idea that substance dependence is a disease of the brain, and in fact mandates all of our contracted providers to do provide evidence-based treatment services to effectively address those disorders.
And on the front lines, ever-increasing doses of Narcan are being dispensed by first responders and by family members with opioid-dependent loved ones.
People have to understand is Narcan does save people's lives. That's just one tier of all this. We gotta get them breathing again. We have to get them to the point where we can get them to the hospital alive so that they can get the help that they need. So we can't write people off. We can't do that. If we don't give the Narcan, oftentimes that person is gonna die. So if it was my relative, I wouldn't want that to happen.
It's been said throughout the centuries that where there is life, there is hope.
I can only look at it one way. If it was my son or my brother or my mother, I wouldn't want anybody to give up on them.
I don't think you can look at one strategy over another and say, this is exactly what is working in our community. I think it takes multiple tools in the tool chest. It's not a tool belt anymore, it's a chest, because there are so many different strategies that are needed.
Throughout Lucas County, drop boxes offer a reliable way to permanently dispose of unused and unwanted medications. They are safe and secure.
Probably every 2 weeks, I usually do the report. We weigh them up, and within a 2-week period, we usually average around 35 pounds. That's from our 3 district stations and also our portable boxes that we take to the block watch meetings. We've collected over 13,000 pounds in the last 5 years.
The real state of hope is understanding that the intervention is prevention. The more that you reach out to people and let them know that the help is there, you're gonna start to curb or see that trend that you're seeing go down.
Yeah, prevention is the most important thing we can do. It's the cheapest thing we can do. It has the most impact.
If you are in need of treatment services, call the Crisis Care Helpline at 419-904-CARE. For any crisis, you can also text 4HOPE to 741-741. This presentation is made possible by Harbor through the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lucas County.